Okay. I think we're live. Sorry, I have to check. Make sure this is all going okay as planned. Here we are, sound check. Sound check, sound check. Check. Yep. Okay, as planned. Sweet. Sweet. That's working. Alright, hello everybody. All my viewers. Welcome to another installment of This Week in Twitter with your humble host, Christ Scourge, aka Salem, whatever you want to call me, really. Yeah, we're back, and this week we have some juicy stories this week, some pretty juicy stories. But before we get into those, somebody returned to Twitter this week. Somebody that we all know and love. That's right. Ye has returned to Twitter. That's alright, you ladies and gentlemen. The man is back. And he's back in a big way. Okay, I need to stop that in case of copyright. Yes, that's right. Kanye West has returned to Twitter. And, of course, like always, he deletes his tweets. But, luckily, with my incredible foresight, I realised he probably would delete these messages. And so I screenshotted one of them. And I did end up having to cut out his name a little bit there at the top. But trust me, this is Ye. You can tell by the patented spaces and the all caps that this is a genuine Ye tweet. So this tweet comes after Ye has announced his divorce from his wife. Is it Bianca? What's her face? I can't even remember her name. Bianca something. Sioni or whatever the fuck. Some Italian thing. Anyway. Obviously, a couple of weeks ago, Ye had a crazy spurg out about Jews yet again. You know, surprise, surprise. And announced that he was a Nazi and made some Nazi merchandise for his website. And it was a whole thing. And it was, I'm not going to lie, it was pretty fucking hilarious, to be honest. I think we can all agree to that. And he deleted all those tweets and started spamming porn, which I think he also deleted. Very weird behavior, but hey, this is Kanye. What else do you expect? You know, it's going to be a bit wild. Now, Kanye came back after all this debacle, and then after that happened, his wife decided they were going to get a divorce. And I'm assuming that divorce is going through. Now, I'm not actually 100% convinced that divorce will actually happen, to be honest. I'm getting a little bit of a feeling that it might be a bit of a publicity stunt, a little bit. Hard to tell with this couple, because it seems like a lot of things they do is a publicity stunt. But who knows? I don't know. Maybe they really are getting divorced. But I have a little bit of a feeling in my gut that I don't know if they're actually getting divorced. It feels a little bit, I don't know. It felt a little bit off to me. Anyway, in saying that, let's get into this tweet and let's dissect this tweet a little bit that Ye posted after all this. He went dark for about a week, I think, after that spurg out. And now he comes back with this. So I'm going to do this in my best Kanye West impression, okay? Which is not actually that good, but I'll do it anyway. I know you guys have been missing your all caps, so here we go. I have a lot of Jewish people I work with. I love working with Jews. They're super smart and they make black people money. I'd love to bring Richard Lovitz and Will Smith in on my coin. This is the whole point of my tweets. My name is Ye, pronounced Yay. I am the king of the video game called life. I am not afraid of the Jews. I am not afraid of anyone or any group. I am the king. No one can work for me that is afraid or influenced by Jewish people to question my authority. My stance is completely non-violent. I do not advocate violence in any way, but I do advocate breaking older programming and ideologies. I know this is the tweet T. Mills has been waiting for and always knew I had inside of me. My name is Ye. I am the master. So, okay. Let's break this down a second, alright? What the fuck is going on here? So, after going on about how he's a Nazi and all this stuff, I guess what he's trying to say is his whole thing with doing that is to try and subvert what people think of as a Nazi, or also make it more acceptable to question the paradigm of the power that Jews have over several industries and blah, blah, blah. Now, I will say, the way he's going about it is probably the worst possible way you could actually go about doing this. But in a way, it's also kind of the perfect way of doing it, you know? Because what are you going to say? I mean, he's fucking black, right? It's not like it's a white guy doing this. A white guy doing this is easily dismissible. But a billionaire black guy doing this is hard to ignore. And in a way, he's kind of actually somewhat successfully doing this. Now, I will say overall, I think it's a net negative. I think his approach is a net negative overall. I don't really believe in... Like, I think you can acknowledge power disparities or disproportionate amounts of power that Jews hold without having to demonize the entire people or, you know, lay blame at their feet when a lot of them are probably not really involved in this or whatever. So I do find it a little counterproductive, let's say. But I do think, though, in a weird way, it does kind of bring this discourse, you know, to the surface. And I think there is something of a value to that, even if he is doing it badly. And I don't know, it's hard for me to feel animosity towards him because of this. Because there is legitimate mixed in with, like, the obvious crazy over the top side to it. There is some truths mixed in there that are worth talking about. Like, with the initial thing that he said, or when he first had his original, like, spurg out about the Jews ages ago, he was mainly talking about their stranglehold on the music industry and the kind of black music that they want to promote and sell. And I think there is some valid criticisms there. To say, why is it that these particular Jewish executives want to promote this kind of lifestyle and this kind of music, and these people who, a lot of them end up dying and stuff. Like, a lot of these guys, like, I remember one of them, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but one of them was actually confronted on the breakfast show by Charlemagne the God about this. And it was it was a bit of a tepid confrontation, but it did happen. And this guy, his answers were not fucking very good. I wonder if I can find it, maybe. I might be able to find this. But if you... I don't know. Is it worth me finding? Does anybody in chat want me to find this clip? Get in the chat and let me know if you want me to find that clip, because I think it is actually quite an interesting clip. But I think there is a value to this on some level, in a weird way. And I do find it interesting that he's kind of coming out trying to backtrack a bit, but he's also kind of not backtracking. You know, when he says this line about I advocate for breaking the older programming, he's kind of saying that, like, yes, I don't hate the Jews really, you know, but I do want to, like, actually point some fingers here. So it's kind of a backtrack, kind of not a backtrack. Don't know, very weird tweet. I also get the feeling that maybe this is a little bit trying to salvage his marriage, maybe because I know that his wife, there has been some tweets and messages that have come out that suggest that maybe she jokes around with this kind of Nazi idea as well, but it's hard to tell, does she really buy into it in the way that Kanye does? And I would say maybe not. So, you know, I do think there is, I don't know, there's some weird stuff going on here. I think maybe he's trying to salvage his marriage a little bit here. Hard to say. But it is also like, what is concurrent through all this is also a kind of, you know, to put it very bluntly, like a very deep narcissism going on. Like this, I am the king, I am the master, you know? All this shit that it's very, this is all over the place, you know? It's very all over the place. He came out recently saying that he is now autistic, which in some respects does kind of make sense, but he is also clearly manic as well. So let's not, like, you know, let's not pretend it's any other way. You know, this guy is off the chain. So, but yeah, I thought it was worth kicking things off with a little bit of Ye. You know, he's a funny guy to keep some tabs on. I'm sure we'll have many more golden tweets from Ye. He is a gold mine when it comes to the content. So yeah, at this point, I don't know what is going on with Ye. As far as I'm aware, I don't know if he's made any other tweets since now. You can see this one was the 22nd, so that was, I think was that yesterday? Are we on the 23rd today? Yeah, it was yesterday. So, you know, he may have deleted, I know he deleted this tweet, because I tried to find it before and it didn't come up, but I don't know if he's tweeted anymore, but, if he has, we'll bring them up next week if he said anything interesting or worthy. Something that's funny, you know. I'm sure there probably is some funny stuff. But yeah, he kind of deleted everything the other week. And then he came back with this. Thought that was pretty funny. Thought that was pretty noteworthy. Okay, speaking of insane rappers. Diddy's lawyer. Mr. Sean Diddy Combs. His lawyer has actually quit the sex trafficking case that they were working on together. Or working on defending against. Now, I haven't actually read this article, so maybe we can read this together and see what the dealio is. So, oh damn, they want me to allow ads. No, I don't know how to disable ads on Opera. No, how do I do this? How do I easily turn off ads on here? Can I do that easily? Doesn't look like it. Ads. Sorry, some technical difficulties here that I did not anticipate. How do I turn off the ad blocker? Block out. Ah, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, Mr. Sean Diddy Combs, lawyer, quits sex trafficking case. Under no circumstances can I continue. Is that the lawyer, this woman? I mean, I'm not... Oh, no, she's just the presenter of this show. Okay, excuse me. Oh, no, it's this guy. Okay, this guy is the lawyer. Fair play, a black man puts up his hands and says, I can't do this. Okay, that's interesting. One of Sean Diddy Combs' defense lawyers quit the disgraced music producer's criminal sex trafficking case, new court papers show. Anthony Rico filed a motion Thursday to withdraw as one of the Bad Boys for Life records 6 defense attorneys without explanation. Rico's bid to step down won't be official until a judge signs off on it. A judge must find sufficient reason to approve such a request. Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs, Rico wrote in the Manhattan Federal Court affidavit. It is respectfully but regretfully requested that the court grant the relief requested. Didn't need to use request twice there, but it's okay, we'll let it pass. The lawyer didn't elaborate on why he wanted to step down, but noted the decision came after speaking with Combs' lead counsel, Mark Agnifilio. Can't say that name. Agnifilio! I don't know what that name is. The attorney suggested the case for his affidavit's brevity is because he didn't want to divulge any information protected by attorney-client privilege. So this is obviously some personal issue with, you know, the details of the case. He's obviously had some issues around what's come up in this case. Maybe he just doesn't feel like he can adequately defend it, and maybe he doesn't really want to defend it on moral grounds. But told the judge there are sufficient reasons. Okay? I'm assuming that he would do that. So, there's not much more to that. So, yeah, weird. We've got a lawyer stepping down from the case. I mean, to me, this kind of says, you know, there's probably a lot of legitimacy to the claims against Mr. Diddy here. And it's not looking good. I mean, it's not often that you find lawyers quitting. And let's face it, lawyers are not exactly the most moral of people. You know, they seem to be very loose with their moral compass, shall we say. It's very well known that a lot of lawyers are much higher on the psychopathy, narcissistic scale than the general public. So, you know, it's definitely notable if a lawyer, especially a high-profile lawyer who would be hired for a case like this, to step down or try to step down, that is, and not want to be associated with the case and defending the case, doesn't want his name on it. I think that is very... I think it does add a lot of credence to the claims being made against Mr. Diddy Combs here. And I don't know, we'll see how this plays out. Very interested to know how the Diddy court case is going to go. I'm sure that will be covered on Twitter as it happens. So we will definitely be seeing more of that in the future if you're interested in a little bit of the Diddy Combs situation. Moving swiftly on to our next story. Now this kind of relates back to the Ye one. Maybe I should have done this after the Ye story, actually. But Mr. Milo Yiannopoulos has had an expose thread made on him by Mr. Esoteric Shaggyism. Don't know who the fuck this guy is, never heard of him in my life, but I stumbled across this thread, which I actually have not read or gone through, so this will be interesting because there's some claims here that have been made against Mr. Milo Yiannopoulos that I think are pretty strong. I'm not sure if I've not seen this pedophilia necessarily. I have seen some pedophilia, what you might call apologetics, maybe. I don't know if we can say that too confidently. I mean, he is also technically a victim of abuse as well, so that might have coloured his perceptions a little bit. So I can maybe give him a little bit of grace for saying what he said on that Joe Rogan appearance. You know, trying to kind of find some dark humour in his own experience, maybe, if I was given the benefit of the doubt. However, Milo is well known for being a manipulative person and a liar. So, you know, like I say, I want to give him some benefit of the doubt, but on the other end, I'm not going to kid myself about the kind of person that he is. So we never know. This could very well, there could be very well be some claims to the paedophilia thing. So let's have a little read here. Milo Yiannopoulos exposed. Right, how good does this look on the screen, by the way? Can we all read this? I feel like we can read this. Can we read this? I think we can read this. Yeah, I'm looking at it on my phone. We can read it. Don't be afraid to get in the chat, guys, by the way. I will be responding to chat, so please get in there. And give your thoughts on anything that we're covering today. I will be responding. I'll look after every story, I guess. And then if there's any comments, any thoughts, anything like that, I'll read them out. We can have a little bit of a back and forth. So yeah, let's dig into this Milo Yiannopoulos stuff, because this is interesting to me. And like I say, I haven't actually looked at this yet. So let's see. Is it the same old shit we've heard before, or is there something new here? So Milo Yiannopoulos exposed a thread. This thread details at Nero, which is his handle here, history, his paedophilia, federal connections, and crimes. Crimes! This will prove Milo is a paedophile fed who must be rejected from all circles like the monster he is. Milo wants to hide his past. Never let him forget. Interesting. What do we have here? Milo advocated... Oh, let's pause this, because we'll have to listen to this. Milo advocated paedophilia, promoting relationships between 14-year-olds with men in their 30s, 40s, in a 2016 Joe Rogan podcast. Milo defended the predator who violated him as a great man, talking about wanting to follow in his steps. Okay, that is a little very bad wording. Like, you know, it makes it sound like, yeah, I want to do the same thing. I want to fuck a 14-year-old boy. But again, if I was to give charity, I think he would probably just mean that I want to follow in his footsteps, as I want to be like a kind of respected guy like he was, and other than him being a predator against me or maybe other boys, I don't know, probably, you know, he kind of considered him a good man, I guess, which is, you know, fair enough in a way. I don't know. See, I struggle with this, okay? And I have very personal reasons as to why I struggle with this, because I'm a victim of child sexual abuse, okay? And because of that, like, now, obviously, I've never said anything like this, all right? So, you know, don't get it twisted. I'm not out here acting like Milo, all right? However, as someone who has been a victim of this kind of crime, I do understand a level of maybe, what would you call it, like morbid humor, dark humor around the topic, and also trying to cope with it in a way where you're not a victim, you know, and you're trying to kind of posit yourself in a way to so that you're not kind of carrying around this baggage, but in a way that is also suppressing it, which is also not healthy. So he's kind of gone a bit too far that way with the trying to avoid being a victim, you might say. So, you know, but anyway, let's hear his exact words to understand. I mean, this has been clipped, so there could be further context to this. And I remember when I heard this, I listened to the whole thing originally when it was out, so I haven't actually listened to it since then. So this was years ago. This was, 2016, man. Like, this is nearly 10 years ago now. And I do remember coming out the other end of it, even though that debacle at the end, because when he mentions this, they kind of go on a big tangent about it. But I do remember coming out the other side and feeling a fair amount of empathy for him in this situation. And I do actually seem to remember him going back on it and going, actually, you know, I am being a bit facetious. I am being over the top here with what I'm saying. I don't actually really advocate for paedophilia, obviously. Stuff like that. I'm sure he did actually go back and say that. But it's hard to know what side is real here, you know? Was he betraying himself here and then he realized it and then tried to backtrack? or was he, if we add some charity, was he trying to kind of come off as not a victim, basically? And that's like his own coping mechanism. And this kind of backfired because he did it publicly on a public platform like this. You know, when maybe he would say something like that in private, and he didn't really anticipate how this would be received. I don't know. I could go either way on that. At the time, that's the way I felt about it. Now that I'm going to revisit it here, let's see what he has to say.
Michael, I would have given far less good head. I mean,
there was a real Father Michael?
So much less. You know, he's going to get killed now. But
who is Father Michael?
I'm not. No, I bet
there's a real dude.
I should
maybe suck his dick for real.
Don't make me. I was quite enthusiastic about it. I fucked my English teacher too.
How old was he at the time?
See, this is like kind of classic as well, because teenagers. And this is like the kind of dirty secret about abuse victims, is that especially like teenagers, kids, you know, pubescent people who are starting to, you know, have sexual urges for the first time and don't always really understand the boundaries, don't understand why something might be bad, why something might affect them psychologically, negatively. They don't really anticipate or understand why that might be the case in the future. Because they don't have a grasp of like learned behaviors and neuroplasticity and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, so there is actually a lot of cases where the children do, quote unquote, give consent or want to do it, okay? And that's very hard to talk about, but it is a part of the equation. It's actually partly why people say they feel ashamed, right? When rape victims or sex abuse victims say things like, you know, I didn't want to report it because I felt shame. Usually what they mean is they felt shame because either they felt pleasure from it or they wanted to do it in some way, right? And what they don't realize is they don't need to feel shame about that, because the body is set up for that pleasure. And if you're a pubescent child who's taken advantage of because you're having sexual urges, yes, maybe you did want to do it at the time, but you should be able to recognize that you were being taken advantage of. It doesn't matter, you know, what you thought or felt at the time. You were a child that was being predated on. There was someone being a predator against you. So you have to acknowledge that. You have to acknowledge how it's damaged your life. Just because you may have wanted it or felt pleasure from it doesn't mean that you weren't actually being abused, okay? And that's very... I think we need to actually address that a little bit more inside. We need to be a bit more comfortable addressing that kind of taboo, because it's going to be more helpful to people who are abused in the long run to understand this dichotomy. That's just my opinion. And what I'm seeing here when he talks like this is a kind of psychological coping mechanism. He's trying to put a light on this dynamic. He's doing it in the most irresponsible way possible, though. And as an abuse victim myself, I don't like that he very blasé just kind of came out with this, not really thinking about the consequences. Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm struggling to take this as an endorsement of paedophilia, to be frank. I'm seeing a coping mechanism here, and I'm seeing a coping mechanism that he's using recklessly and not thinking about the messaging he's putting out here. Because he's just thinking about himself. That's what he's doing at the moment. He's just thinking about himself. He's blurted out this thing about himself, and now he's trying to cope with it, right?
I don't know. He's quite young, quite hot.
Really?
Yeah.
And so that's where it all started? With Father Michael?
No.
Was that post the tranny?
Yeah, it was post. So I wasn't
drag
abused
queen?
as a child or anything like that.
So
it was quite a.
He was
you already
abused
had
as
the
a child.
five.
He was abused as a child. This is what I mean. He's fully coping here. He's fully coping with this. You know, flat out refusing to even acknowledge that he was abused because he's not come to terms with the fact that he was taken advantage of.
And you're like, this is all wrong. I need to talk to Father Michael. He's like, suck my dick and shut the fuck up. And you're like, religion is awesome.
You see, I really had no hope, did I? I was never going to end well.
Well,
I mean, all teenagers are horny. right? You can't blame a teenager for that. That's like puberty. That's just what it does to you. It's a biological reaction that's going on that's just triggered in your body. You know, you can't really help that. That's why we have to have protections around that, you know, because we recognize that that is the case. Yeah, and I'm very surprised by Joe Rogan not kind of challenging that perspective. Maybe he did further on in the podcast. I don't remember him challenging him on it particularly hard, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard to watch a little bit. Actually, it's actually hard to watch.
Seems like you kept stumbling into dicks. I mean,
I just
don't
kept
know.
falling on them through life.
I don't know what would have happened if a heterosexual man like me
30 years, I've just been falling on dicks.
was in the same circumstances as you early on. I mean, obviously things would have went very different.
You know,
Your
she'd be
sex
celibate or
drive
something.
dries up a
I
little
always
bit.
think I would have made a good priest.
Notice that there was a cut there. I mean, could have just been a superfluous cut. Maybe Jamie interjected and said something that was irrelevant to the point or whatever. But just know that this is edited and chopped up. So, you know, this guy is coming in to say all this stuff in this tweet thread. I would give a little bit more grace to an abuse victim, personally, myself. But it should be acknowledged, though, as well, that we also have to be wary because a lot of abuse victims can become abusers in the future as well. And that is because those lines have been blurred for that child. So even if he wanted to do it, for him now, even if he wanted to do it when he was 15, he doesn't feel particularly damaged by this. He did actually go on to be a promiscuous hypersexual person, so that's part of the trauma, that's part of the damage. Also, what point was I going to make them? Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. It doesn't matter.
Things would have went very different.
You know,
Your
she'd be
sex
celibate or
drive
something.
dries up a
I
little
always
bit.
think I would have made a good priest. Do you think I'd make a good priest? I think I'd make a good priest.
Well, you make a
Great
good priest if you think the guy that made you suck his dick was a good priest. That kind of good
He was
priest.
a great priest. Honestly, like he was the.
He was good other than that.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say about him becoming an abuser. Is that it did make him hypersexual, and then also he's kind of saying that, like, you know, there is a definitely an element here where you could say, because he's kind of refusing to acknowledge being abused and all that stuff, these lines are kind of being blurred for him. So in his perspective, this kind of seems like it's okay, right? Because those lines have been blurred for him. And this is, again, how potential abusers can be made, is that this can shape their perspective around these kind of sexual encounters, right? So this is why you've got to be so fucking careful. And this also works with boys and older women, right? So this is why you've always got to be careful. This is why when boys are raped by older women, like teachers and stuff, we have to treat it with the same severity. In fact, we should even try maybe even treat it with even more severity, because these boys could then go on to, because it might shape their perspective and boundaries around sex, may lead them to become abusers as well. And we know that men's libido and their sexual behaviors are different to women, okay? So we have to acknowledge that that can then become a potential harm and lead to the cycle of abuse, all right? These are well-known phenomenons in psychology. I'm not trying to blame all women or women for making abusers. I'm just saying we have to acknowledge how these things can happen, okay? And if we're going to really be serious about prevention, then we have to deal with it in real terms, okay? We cannot just be skirting around things because it goes against our narrative, or it goes against our biases that, well, women are so amazing and they never do anything wrong. How can they possibly be responsible for anything? No, we've got to acknowledge how men and women contribute to these situations, okay? That doesn't just go for the men who are sexually abusing these boys, like this priest here that we're talking about. It also goes for the women who abuse or aid in that abuse or whatever, okay? So let's just be clear about that.
I've never had a better singing tutor. He was great.
Singing teacher.
He got notes out of me I didn't even know I could produce.
Well, he worked your plumbing.
Shattering the chandeliers, kind of.
It's mad.
But was he
It's
good
mad. It's
outs-
actually a little bit sick to me that that Joe Rogan is just being like so blasé about it as well. I know that he's probably just leaning into the energy that Milo is putting out, but it is quite concerning to me, honestly.
Side of what he did, like, was he a good religious scholar? Was he a good
I think he
teacher?
was just a parish priest. I mean, I
Just
really
a fucking
shouldn't.
creep getting his dick sucked. Then.
If you have any thoughts or feelings, by the
How's
way,
he gonna
about
get
this or
lynched?
anything that I'm
Do
saying,
people know
please
who
get
he
into
is?
the chat.
don't
I would
think
like
so.
to hear what
What's
you
his
have to
name?
say.
Well,
I will
Well, how
be
old
looking
were you
at the
at the
chat
time?
after I've.
You were a little kid, and he was like
Stop
what?
it. You're just trying to.
Was he in
you're
his
trying
20s or
see,
30s?
Yet another feminist strategy that you
After this story, I'll look at the chat and we'll have a bit of a back and forth.
have adopted, in addition to your language
What?
policing,
Trying
is
to out
trying to
pedophiles?
No, trying to go on this.
You were the
witch,
one who was
this witch hunt.
anti-pedophile
I
earlier.
told you it wasn't the pedophilia. I was
Well, it
after I'd lost
certainly
my
is.
virginity. I was
How
in my
old were you?
teens. I was in my teens.
14.
I was in my teens.
You said
Something
you were
like
14.
something like that.
That's what you
I was
said.
in my,
14
I
is
was in my
pedophilia, buddy.
teens.
I don't know how they rock it in
I was
merry
in-
old England.
I was in my teens.
Over
I mean,
here in my country, and
you saying
fucking
you've
where
never,
you are right
you've
now,
never
America.
seen a 15-year-old girl at any point in your life, however old you were, you've never seen a 15-year-old girl you thought was hot.
Yeah, when I was 15.
No, when
Thought
you
they
were
were hot as
25. when you were
I'm
25.
not retarded, dude.
When you were 25, when you were 30, you will have seen
No.
girls about 15. You thought,
Right, now he's trying to subvert to this thing where, okay, again, let's just be real. The reason we have attraction is because of biology, right? When somebody's going through puberty, this is obviously their hormones are emitting like kind of pheromones, right? And this adds to an attraction thing, right? Has a biological reaction to people. But usually an adult will have self-control, so they'll be able to acknowledge like, oh, okay, this teenager might be pretty or whatever, but you let that thought just slide on by and you don't, pay it any mind, right? Knowing that to focus on that would be to go down like a bad road, so he's kind of using like this little truth, but he's trying to use it to justify why this might be okay. It's still not okay, right? It's still not fucking okay. Doesn't matter if you can sometimes see a teenager as attractive. It's not any kind of excuse to act on that or obsess on that or whatever you want to say about it. Like, as a responsible adult, you're meant to have self-control and manage your thoughts, basically. I feel like there is a responsibility as an adult to do that. And he is trying to abdicate that responsibility. And again, there's like a kind of... Again, this goes back to his coping mechanism, in my mind. What I'm seeing here is him trying to cope to be like, I was attracted, he was attractive to me, and I was attracted to him, and, he must have thought I was attractive at that age, and I've seen people who are that age who are attractive, and da-da-da-da. It's like, it's very... It's very like, to me, it's very like scrambly, trying to latch on to a point when he knows he doesn't really have a leg to stand on, kind of a thing. He's trying to save face a bit because he realizes he said something ridiculous, so now he's trying to make it palatable. But the reason he said something ridiculous, though, was because he basically is trying not to have a victim mentality. This is leading him down a bad road. And I don't know how sincere this all is. I don't feel like it's super sincere, but I don't know. Maybe it could be. I don't know. Hard to say.
No, I thought
course
they
you
were little
did.
kids.
No, you didn't.
I thought,
Don't
damn,
talk
she's
bullshit.
gonna be hot, but I didn't want to fuck her.
Bullshit. Like
Not bullshit at all.
Look,
You can't tell me what I was born into.
I think if you're 14...
Born like this.
You were born this way. You were born a dreary nitpicker.
No, you're trying to make it so.
Look at his demeanor. He's kind of embarrassed by this conversation. You can tell the way he's looking down, the way he's trying to... He's calling him a nitpicker and stuff. He's trying to kind of put a stop on the conversation a little bit. He's trying to say, like, let me just have this and move on, right?
Like you.
No,
I'm not into 14-year-olds. How dare you, sir? No.
I'm not into 14-year-olds.
Well, that
Don't
fucking
put this
guy
on
that
me.
you said's a great guy.
No, but it's on me. But you did bring it up, mate.
14-year-olds.
Fantastic. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
he's a terrible person.
No.
But this is what I mean. There's a scrambly nature to it. This is why I don't feel like it's very sincere. He's just trying to save face.
Certainly was.
I was a very mature 14-year-old.
Yeah. Well, in your case, you got it right. You got the right guy to molest.
It wasn't molestation.
That's absolutely
It
molestation.
wasn't molestation. It was perfectly consensual.
I don't think it is when they're 14.
When I was 14, trust me, I was the predator.
Wow.
I was the predator.
You
at
were the
14.
predator. You
I
were
was
chasing after the...
Yeah, because teenagers are horny. He's being hyperbolic, but what he means is I was a horny teenager. Right? Which is normal. But that doesn't give any excuse to that priest to do what he did. Right? It's not any fucking excuse. And I think he's even said this later down the line. I can't remember when, but I'm pretty sure he has
trying to
said
stay
this.
I
close to
was
God.
chasing everybody. I was aggressively seeking out sexual company of adults because I knew it would horrify people, because I wanted sort of power over them. It was my way of rebelling. My way of
That's a little bit sociopathic, if that is true. To just be very blunt about that. That is pretty fucking sociopathic. Like, you know, to have power over people. As if that's a motivation then. I'm struggling to believe that personally, but I don't know, he does have a weird personality and he is quite narcissistic, so who knows, maybe there is some truth to that.
rebelling. I was the predator at 14, let me tell you.
Okay, so this might take a while, Jesus, do we have to watch every clip?
Went for Father Michael, I would have given...
Okay, Milo admits going to Hollywood pedo parties full of young boys and drugs. When pressured to name anyone, Milo protects those pedophiles and defends pedo Brian Singer. Been nearly 10 years, Milo hasn't named a single child predator he met at those parties.
Think that's what's going on with that guy who directed X-Men. Bunch of
Brian Singer?
Yeah, a bunch of 14-year-old predators going after that poor man.
I'm not sure it's the case with him, no.
That's a guy.
You know, I lived in Hollywood a while ago.
Did you?
Briefly. And,
did you go to one of his parties?
I went to other people who I won't name of a similar stature in Hollywood. I went to their boat parties and to their house parties and things, and some of the things I have seen have beggared belief.
Yeah? Can you give us like a...
Well, just... I don't want to be indiscreet about specific people.
Right, you don't have to do that.
It's going
to dance around the facts.
Yeah, dangerous. But I can tell you the truth without dropping anyone in it.
Okay.
I mean, some of the boys there were very young. Very young.
And this is really recently?
I don't remember... No, like, I don't know, 8 years ago. I don't remember...
Statute of limitations.
I don't remember whether I ever met Brian Singer or whether I even knew who he was then.
Now he's
but
deflecting.
I knew other people of similar stature, as I say, and there were some very young boys around at that time. There was a lot of drugs and a lot of...
Twinks.
A lot of twinks taking drugs and having unsafe sex with older men, and some of these boys were very young.
What did you think?
Well, if he was there, the implication is that he was probably doing that too, right? So, if he is insinuating what I think he's insinuating, that they were underage, you know, maybe teenagers again, then, you know, there is some pretty strong implication there. Okay, this one... There could be some truth to if he is really being honest there. Or maybe he's just trying to add some mystique to his name to pretend that he's been to some pedo parties when maybe he hasn't. But I'm going to take that at face value. I'm going to say maybe he has seen some stuff. But I'm also going to say he might have taken part as well. So, okay, that's one claim that we've got in the bank that I think holds a little bit more weight than the original claim. But I do think that original one, this original clip, does give some credence to the idea that I was talking about, how people can become abusers again, is that he thinks it's all okay because of the abuse that happened to him, and he's rationalized it that way to try and not have a victim mentality. And now he's participating in a cycle of abuse himself, but in his mind he's rationalizing it as, this is okay because it happened to me and I was okay with it too. Right? So that's kind of how we're looking at it here. If this is all true. Allegedly. Milo says paedophilia is a spectrum and attacks victims for calling out their abuse as not a big deal. Paedophile Nero mocks the idea of calling yourself a victim. Okay, so this definitely plays into the idea of he doesn't... If he's saying that you shouldn't call yourself a victim, then he's also has that stance for himself, right? He doesn't want to have a victim mentality. Something he'd later use to excuse his paedophilic remarks. Milo Yiannopoulos was 32 at this time. So let's hear this.
An MP, a member of Parliament in Britain, who's just been fingered by the police, as it were.
Did you have to say fingered when we're talking about this?
being a paedophile, and he's on the front pages of all the tabloid newspapers.
They love getting fingered?
Well, and if you know anything about British politics, there are a few crucial details that will reveal to you who this
Isn't
person.
everyone a pedophile over there?
Well, no, I mean, you see, there's this great taboo against conflating homosexuals with paedophiles, and you're not allowed to say that, of course, these things exist on a spectrum, and that there is, of course, a huge, disproportionate overlap between homosexual men and paedophiles versus heterosexual men.
Well, that's the whole thing with the Catholic Church, because they go, oh, that's Catholic priests.
Again, I think he is actually speaking to in a weird way, he's kind of exposing the dirty secrets of homosexuality and stuff like that, because it is true, if you asked a lot of gay men when their first sexual experiences was and who it was with, it will generally be with older men or teenagers, right? And this is something that the gay community really tries to fight against and pretend doesn't happen. But Milo is kind of saying here as a victim of it himself, right? So, like, he's kind of, in a weird way, by being so ridiculous with what he's saying, he's also, and being kind of transparent, he's also kind of exposing it at the same time. So I don't know, maybe a little bit of a silver lining to this. I don't know. Too much of whatever the opposite of a silver lining is, though, is going on here. A black cloud. Yeah, I don't know. Silver lining to the black cloud, shall we say? Oh, I'm not going to watch this whole 6 minutes. This is too much. What's the claim here? Milo says victims of child rape are the real predators. Wow. And says mature 13-year-olds can consent. Milo promotes children being sexually violated as a meaningful, healthy, and enriching relationship. Milo claims child molesters are just saving boys.
May have abused hundreds of other children.
The state of the modern right.
What's his name?
Well, I'm not saying anymore.
Well, how old were you at the time? You were a little kid, and he was like what?
You're trying to.
Was he in his 20s or 30s?
Yet another feminist strategy that you have adopted.
It's
Which
pedophile
I
earlier.
told you it wasn't
Okay,
pedophilia.
I would say Joe Rogan doesn't normally adopt feminist
When's
strategy.
insane?
Honestly.
What is your age? What is your age?
I'm almost 35.
Okay, well, I'm talking about 28-year-olds.
Oh, well.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes everything.
Well, you won't
Paul's
hear that
like,
in this
okay,
video,
cool.
I'm sure. I'm guessing, because I've never told this publicly, that you won't hear that in this video, but we're talking about 13, 25, 13, 28. These things do happen perfectly consensually. Often, by the way, it's the women who suffer in these, because what normally happens in schools, very often, is it's an older woman with a younger boy, and the boy is the predator in that situation. The boy is like, let's see if I can fuck the gym teacher, or let's see if I can fuck the
It really doesn't. Oh man, I've already said this point, but it really does not matter if the boy was trying it on with the teacher. It's incumbent on the adult in every one of these situations to bear the responsibility of making sure that does not happen and they don't rape this child. Even if they say they want it, that is still a rape, because they do not have the cognitive ability to understand how this is going to impact them psychologically. Okay, and then you can also be creating abusers doing it as well. In fact, he's like a perfect case study of this situation. He's literally the poster boy for this right now. I don't know if I can be bothered watching more of that, because I think it's kind of going over the same stuff we've looked at before.
our maths teacher, and he does. The women fall in love with these nubile young men.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he is kind of right in what he's saying. His assessment is kind of right, but the reason he's right is because he has insight to it, because of these dynamics, not only as the victim, but also potentially as the perpetrator too. And he probably also knows lots of people like this. He knows how much it goes on, more than the average person who maybe hasn't come into contact with this, who hasn't been abused, or whatever, or led a promiscuous lifestyle, etc., etc. Okay, Milo would double down, saying these paedophilic relationships are helping young gay boys. In early 2017, Milo advocated for minors dating 29-year-olds, obfuscating his original argument, yet still defending paedophilia. Even in Milo's apology months later, he still supported pederasty. A note for idiots. I do not support paedophilia, period. It is a violent, disgusting crime, perhaps the very worst. There are selectively edited videos doing the rounds as part of a coordinated effort to discredit me. Well, I don't know, man. You have said some pretty suspect shit here. It suggests I am soft on the subject. If it somehow comes across from my own sloppy phrasing of that I meant any of the ugly things alleged, let me set the record straight. I'm completely disgusted by the abuse of children. Some facts consider I've outed 3 pedophiles in my career. Whatever, I don't care. The videos do not show that people say that I show. I did joke about giving better head of about this clerical sexual abuse committed against me when I was a teen. If I choose to deal in an edgy way on an internet live stream with a crime I was the victim of, that's my prerogative. I mean, it is in a way, but you have to realize that there is going to be backlash to that if you're being irresponsible with the way that you talk about this. Like seriously, and you have to actually own that you have been irresponsible about that. Like, for any of this to really be a credible apology or an excuse, there has to be an acknowledgement that I really fucked up here. I should not have spoken about it like that. This is why I said these things. I shouldn't have fucking said that, and I won't be saying that again in the fucking future. However, he didn't do that. He still has continued to say things like that after that point. He defended certain perceptions and ideas. So, I don't think so. National Review. Those journalists are tweeting about this. I did say that there are relationships between younger men and older men that can help a young gay man escape from a lack of support or understanding. It's perfectly true and every gay man knows it. So yeah, he is still kind of defending it. So whatever. Again though, right? It can also be true, but that doesn't fucking matter, right? Because at the end of the day, who can really tell? You know, most of the time it's going to go badly, right? It's definitely going to be rarer that this is actually affecting you in a healthy way, to be sexually activated in that way by an older man or an older woman. That is not going to be fucking helpful the vast majority of the time, right? It's going to create a cycle of abuse that is unhealthy and just toxic to society. So just don't be fucking... Yes, maybe the few times where it can be a good thing is kind of irrelevant, to be honest, and should not be like any level of... It shouldn't be something that we're looking at as a bar of like what is acceptable. Okay, this is started to play by mistake. Okay, anyway, so let's move on again. Milo in 2017 calls into RSBN to defend pederasty and calls for young boys to be mentored. Okay, so, you know, I'm just going to take it at face value that this video goes over that point again, so he has defended it in other places as well. Milo, a year after the Rogan incident, does a press conference defending paedophilia. Milo says he was violated at age 13 and 16, explaining we have a different approach to these things in Europe. Saying the average age of consent is 14 in Europe, I think. Although in the UK it is 16, so he is purposefully obfuscating the point. And also, actually, to be perfectly clear, actually, at the time, because he's a little bit older than me, I think he's like 36 maybe, I'm 33. He's something like that. But at the time when he was 13, and even 16, I think, the age of consent for men and a man sleeping with a man was actually 18 for a long time. And I think it still was at that time. It did get changed to 16 when I can't remember what year it was. I was a teenager, but I want to say I was probably about 18 or 19 when that change happened, I think. I can't remember properly off the top of my head. But I'm fairly confident in saying that I think the actual age of consent at that time for men sleeping together was 18. I'm fairly confident of that. Just to put that into perspective. Milo's at the time manager, Baked Alaska, would later accuse Milo of having underage children sleeping with Milo during his tour. Anthony Giannette said Milo gave drugs to young twinks before having sex with them. These boys. See, this twink thing, I wish they wouldn't say this, because this twink thing makes it ambiguous, because a twink can just be a skinny young guy, as in actually still of age, like, you know, 18 plus. but just, you know, a skinny, young-looking guy. But then they're trying to kind of blur the lines with, like, what is a twink and what is actually a minor. And so I don't really like that, to be honest with you. Either they're minors or they're not. Right? Let's not fucking beat around the bush here. So when somebody makes an ambiguous claim like this, okay, with everything else that has been said and defended, I do think it is worth looking into, I guess. I guess it's worth considering that these twinks could potentially be underage. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to make this claim, you should really be saying that they're underage. You can't just be saying they're twinks. And I think that actually does spit in the face of actual victims to blur that line. So forwarded from Yoba Mode. I don't know if you guys know about this situation, but during Milo's tour, he had two 18-year-old twinks, quote unquote, sleeping in his bed with him. I was in the hotel and had switched rooms because they were literally getting drunk, doing coke and fooling around under the covers. The documentary crew quit because he refused to stop giving them coke and alcohol, and said that they couldn't film that. They looked extremely young, and I suspect they were actually younger than 18. Nonetheless, okay, so he couldn't verify that. He just has suspicions about it, and he is saying it outright. Okay, fair enough. I didn't read the whole thing. Okay, I jumped the gun there. But nonetheless, they weren't even 21, and he was pumping them up with alcohol and coke before having sex with them. Sick stuff. Yeah. Milo was 32, 33 during these incidents. You aren't pro-pedo until 34, then suddenly that changes. Milo consistently believed his entire life it was 100% okay for minors to have sex with adults. Milo justified pedophilia for over a year and then was exposed trying to salvage his career. Yeah, he's 40 now. He's 40 now. Right, so he's even older than what I thought. So yeah, when he was a teenager, he was definitely 18 then. No doubt about that. Milo protected Alexander for years, even into 2022. Milo forced InfoWars to delete this. Milo Yiannopoulos goes on about Ali. I don't know who Ali Alexander is. That name does kind of ring a bell, but I can't remember who it is. But it was Milo who covered up for him until it was convenient. Milo based his crusade on Ali Alexander, but protected him until it was useful.
For attention, scrambling for money, and I look at them and I see where I was, and I am.
Milo invited minors to his hotel room in 2017 via leaked emails I uncovered. Milo wasn't just preaching paedophilia, he was actively practicing it. Milo Yiannopoulos inviting minors to his hotel room to groom them. Okay, well this is heavily cropped. And okay, let's stay in touch, and if anything new arises, please reach out. Thanks again, stay safe. Tomorrow, Milo would like to invite. Okay, this is Ryan, whoever this is. Okay, this could literally be anything. To be fair, this could be anything to set him up. So let's just be a little wary of this. Okay. Again, with all the other stuff that's been said, let's take it as it comes. You know, I'm not going to say this isn't, but this does seem a little okay. You know, hold on. Milo would like to invite you to his room tomorrow. Because look, it doesn't even have dates or anything. It just has a time. Milo would like to invite you to his room tomorrow before the rally at 10 a.m. if you can make it. If not, I'll try for a different time. Why would you do this at 1 o'clock in the morning? This is a little weird. You know, and then... Okay, so they didn't even respond till the morning. Like, how would they even know to do that at 10 a.m.? You know what I mean? This is 1 o'clock in the morning, you're asking him to do this. It's a little weird. Milo would like to invite you to his room tomorrow before the rally at 10 a.m. if you can make it. If not, I'll try for a different time. His hotel room at the Trump Soho, let me know if it's possible. Again, I obviously can't make it. Thank you for a generous offer and good luck with today. Okay. Again, I don't know what that's about. I don't know how to verify if that's a true thing that Milo actually had a thing with, you know? It also doesn't say a room number or anything like that. I don't know. Weird. Okay. Milo had shirtless pics of 16-year-old black boys saved as of 2023, and in 2017 had them auditioning to appear at his mansion full of male strippers. Now, he did get married to a black guy, right? So, and he did actually talk quite frequently about his thing for black guys, right? Milo has countless pictures of sexualized minors saved. Frankly, his hard drive needs to be searched. Obtain leak email. Oh, this guy has been following this guy for 2 years. I've obtained leak emails of Milo and his team grooming a 16-year-old minor. Internship, Jalen Martin. An internship sounds awesome. Totally interested in talking more about it. Wait, did he? This looks like an email that was sent by him to Milo. Does that mean he was soliciting him, or was there like a job internship thing given out and he replied to it? But also, if you're replying to an internship, why would you post pictures like this? I mean, again, I'm not going to say it's not evidence, but there is some questions around what is this going on. Is this really showing this, or is this purposefully made to be incriminating? This doesn't even, when these images as well at the bottom, they don't even look like how they actually show up. It looks like they've been put in there. Are they the same size? They look a little bit like... No, I think they are the same size. Yeah, I don't know. There's something a little off here. Like, do we even know if he responded to that or what? You know what I mean? Like, how can we say that he is soliciting minors here? Milo posted revenge porn of a minor less than a week ago. Oh, this is 2021. Twitter safely determined this was actual child porn in most countries. Ashley St. Clair calls out Milo for posting child porn. Plotted for half a decade to ensnare Elon Musk. In underwear at 15 years old. Oh, right, okay. I did hear about that. I didn't see that. But I did hear that he posted something like that. Right. Wait, how old is this thread? Oh, this was May... Oh, wait, am I looking at the wrong thing? February 21. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought that was the year, not the date. Anyway, so yeah, okay. Posting child porn as well. Okay. I will say maybe he didn't realize she was 15 in the picture, but I don't know. If he did know that, then he's a fucking idiot for doing that. He's actually fucking stupid. Milo is a federal informant who brags about meeting the FBI and being in active communication with them via contacts. Milo demands $3,500 to supply the FBI with material on conservatives who attended the Charlottesville rally. Milo to this day threatens the FBI on his email. Who's leaking this shit as well, by the way? I do wonder about that sometimes. Does he just have like staffers who come and go, who maybe they get fired after stuff like this, but they do leak shit here and there? Right, let me take a look at it. Before I go into this, let's just see if anyone's been getting involved in the chat. No. Okay, no worries. Okay, so, what is he saying here? Milo threatens the FBI. Hi, Michael. Thanks for the update. So far, I spent $3,500 on travel. Blah 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 blah. But many questions remain about the FBI's desire to acquire them exclusively. I'm meeting my contracts in the bureau next week. Upon research, as well, for on behalf after I am compelled to give deference priority, and in most cases, exclusivity. And in light of the agreed I am writing to let you know that I will not be producing any documents. Okay, so he has been involved in some FBI stuff. Friendly heads up, I am passing any names, photos, and other info I happen to know belong to any groyper, harassing, mocking, or bothering any accuser on any platforms to the FBI. Does that make him an FBI informant? Like, he's involved in some federal if there are federal crimes going on and he has to liaise with the federal government to do that, yes, he is. I mean, again, he might be a fucking pedo and doing all this shit. So far, he hasn't actually had allegations or court cases brought against him, so I don't know, what is really going on there. But in the meantime, while he's still out and about, he may still also have like valid, issues going on with other people where they need to be held to account for crimes as well, even if he is guilty of his own crimes. And if he needs to work with the FBI to do that, then I don't know why I'm seeing a problem here. Why would this make him a Fed exactly? But Milo, in a deleted article, justified his Fed connection by admitting he met the ADL in person. Milo's excuse was, just wanted to see how damaging it'd be for Richard Spencer. So he had some beef with Richard Spencer. Personally, I'm not seeing anything wrong here. This just doesn't seem like anything that anyone needs to care about, realistically. Milo has committed countless crimes, yet mysteriously never gets in trouble for any of it. So I guess what he's trying to say is, because he's doing this, maybe there is a deeper connection with the FBI. Maybe it goes a bit further than he's just involved in, just innocently trying to deal with other people who have crimes, that are going on and trying to work with the authorities to bring them to justice. He's trying to say that this is actually a way for him to get out of his own crimes. So Milo has committed countless crimes, yet mysteriously never gets in trouble for any of it. From swatting, which is attempted murder, according to this guy. I don't know if I would say that. But I would say that swatting is fucked up, though. Because there is potential for that, to be fair. But I don't think that most of the time that actually happens. To harassment, to immigration fraud, to regular fraud. Yeah, I do seem to remember some stuff around that. Yeah, especially around a fund that he was meant to like give scholarships to boys, and then I don't think he ever did any of that shit. And he just kept the money, I think. So Milo being a pedo and a Fed is a criminal. Milo defrauded over 100k from a charity setup for white men. Yeah, I remember that. Milo promises $2.5 to a privilege grant. Then the money mysteriously went missing as he wasted money on drugs and male hookers. All people involved pointed their fingers at Milo, having no answer for this scam. Milo put out a bounty to murder Baked Alaska's cats. Wouldn't even believe this, but Baked went around for years, privately and publicly, to tell everyone it was real. That's Baked's claim. Milo uses bounties to get criminals to do his dirty work. Milo operates like a mobster. I mean, that's just kind of retarded. Milo Yiannopoulos conspired to assault Nick Fuentes by putting a bounty on Nick to have him beat up on camera. Let's see. Thug Shakers Anonymous. Kind of want to find Nick and beat him up on video. You have my attention. What does this say? His address is the Berwick. Thank you, bro. Until Nick is beaten up on camera, I don't want to hear a word from any of you. Give me a bit, I'll get it. So I guess give me a bit means give me money? Or did he mean give me a bit as in give me some time? So this is the guy who was offering to do it. He was the one Milo responded to. You have my attention. I don't know. I don't see any offers of money yet. Wait, what's this?
Self-pontificating.
You gotta do more cocaine like me, bro. Like I'm tweaked
No,
out.
but I don't
tweaked
do
out.
cocaine,
No,
but-
I'm tweaked out right now. Like holy shit, I did so much cocaine at her house.
Snitch, so
I'm a snitch.
no, this
Oh.
Pidgey is.
Oh, I mean, I handed out
Yeah,
Nick.
now
I
she's
had
trying to
before.
get me to, like,
Wait. When Nick
but
Fuentes at the time of the Your Body, My Choice.
Okay, that's not giving me anything. That would require some part of this story to be true. Didn't need to go to a confirmation. I've come to terms with Nick's passing. I'm thankful when I heard Nick had been shot. I said probably for the best. Put the TV back on. I still don't. Again, that claim. I mean, the doxing and stuff might be a crime or whatever, or social security number might be a crime. That part of it might be a crime, sure. I don't see him really offering anything realistically there, though. I don't see any hard evidence of that there. Milo Yiannopoulos paid $350 to... Why is he putting it behind? To Rachel Seigel to have Nick Fuentes beat up on camera by gangsters. Okay, so is there more to this now? Oh, wow, okay. Okay, so I don't know if it was his mum and dad there, but he was not. Me and his pops almost got into a shootout because he came out like, you don't want what I got with this gun in hand, and I had a big problem with that. Now I'm mad. I'm gonna need you, Finna. What the fuck are you? You're the one going there to beat somebody up, you dickhead. How are you mad? How are you mad? This is the video of him. That does look like the door, actually, because we obviously have seen the video of Nick, have that woman that came to harass him, and that does actually look like his front door. Milo swatted random groyper in terms. This is attempted murder. Milo, in fact, attacked the victim of this and mocked him over having his family threatened if Milo isn't guilty. Hi. I have a... Okay, whatever. This is a message for... Okay. Request for comments how... Whatever. Okay, I'm just gonna say that happened. I don't know. Milo Yiannopoulos, or Milo Hanrahan, was once a damaged, if sharp, young man. Oh my god, he was on The Weakest Link! No way! That's mad. I used to love The Weakest Link. You are the weakest link. Goodbye! Milo is now a messy drug addict who makes mistakes 24/7. Milo's getting a job and blah 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 blah. Okay. Okay, so that's the expose on Milo. Okay, I think the strongest claims was that he's potentially pro-pedo and has potentially participated in some sexual abuse, potentially. I think that's probably the big takeaway. The Fed thing, yeah, maybe. The doxing and the swatting thing, a little bit more ambiguous. Could be him, but from what I was seeing there, I'm not sure if I'm really seeing that Milo was necessarily behind that or not. So I don't know about that. Could be that he was just reveling in whatever online bullshit was going on between the groypers and other people out there, because that does happen too. So I really don't know. Hard for me to say on that one, but I do think interesting. It was an interesting thread, and I think the paedophile stuff and abuse stuff was actually quite interesting personally. I think it's interesting to kind of go into the psychology of someone like Milo. Anyway, time to go on to the next story. Now, this one is a little bit personal. It's not necessarily a huge story on Twitter, but there was a Am I the Arsehole post that went a little bit viral, got 40k likes, and basically the story is, I'm not actually going to read the whole thing, just because we've been going on for a while, so I'm going to try and make it through these fairly quickly. But basically, this guy, he has a son and a daughter. The son is 13, the daughter's 11. Basically, the daughter is included in all the activities with the boys and the dad. Like, they watch the Super Bowl together, they go fishing together, they do these kind of masculine activities together, and she loves it. She loves going with them and being with them and doing these things. And one day, with his 13-year-old son and his 12-year-old nephew, who doesn't also have a dad in the picture, is being raised by a single mum, decide that one weekend they're actually going to have just a boys-only weekend, right? Going fishing. And the little girl takes this pretty hard. She feels like she's being left out because she's a girl, which she is, technically. That is true. However, as people have brought up in the comments subsequently, that there's a subtext to this where the boys are of an age where they're coming into puberty, and it's very likely that they probably want to, the adult men in the situation want to give some room for these boys to be able to naturally talk about these things. And this, by these things, I mean coming into puberty, coming into having sexual thoughts, they kind of want to give them a bit of the talk, or at least just give some room for that to potentially be a thing that they talk about without other girls present, so that these boys don't feel embarrassed or whatever. And also, she is 11. And that does matter. 13 is different to 11, okay? And also, boys might talk a little bit more brashly about these things. And you might... And again, you want to give them freedom. You want to give them freedom. So, like, let's, for instance, say this 13-year-old boy has maybe learnt some, wrong things about sex or relationships because he's seen some porn from older boys in school, in high school, or something like that. Things like that happen. If they have access to the internet, maybe they've seen these things and stuff like that, So you want to give them room to be able to talk about that freely and be wrong. And maybe say something that's maybe a little bit disgusting. You have to go, oh, hold up. You shouldn't talk about it like that. Da-da-da-da. But you need to be able to give them room to talk freely so that they're not embarrassed, not judged. Because otherwise, they're going to suppress it. They're going to lie. You're not going to be able to have that healthy dialogue with them. And sometimes it's just necessary to not have women around in places, times like that. And it's the same works in reverse. There's times where maybe it's just a girls only evening, It's just a girls only evening. Even if it is just to be away from the men for once. Just be away from the men for once. Just have a girls' night out. It might not even be anything like that deep, But either way, it doesn't really matter. Either way, it's valid to have those things. It's also valid that the little girl got upset, by the way. It's valid that she got upset. However, the contention in this story is that it seems like both of the parents in this story kind of fumbled the bag, right? The dad doesn't really explain very well why this needs to be a boys only thing. He doesn't reassure the daughter that, we'll do something again in future. Don't worry about it. It's just wanted to be. He doesn't do any of that. He's basically communicated it pretty fucking badly, okay? And this is added to the issue. And the mum is also feeding into the situation. She's feeding into the negativity of the situation. She's not offered any counter thing. She's not offered any reassurance. She's actually kind of reveling in the fact that the father has caused this pain in a way. Trying to be like a kind of I told you so person in the situation. And it's just not very helpful when realistically the parents need to be on a united front. Like if they come together and go, look, okay, I didn't want to say it outright, but I kind of wanted to maybe have like a bit of a discussion with the boys, they're getting older. Maybe he's embarrassed to say that. Maybe he's worried his wife might not like that he's talking about that with the boys or whatever. And he's a bit afraid of admitting it to her because he doesn't know how she's going to react. When in reality, he does just need to communicate, So I do think he's fumbling the bag here. But I think the thing that was interesting about this, for me, was more the response to it. Because, yes, the daughter's upset. And, but I think she'll probably get over it, right? I think she'll get over it. And I do think that in this snapshot that we're looking at, if this story is true, we have to question Reddit. Well, if this story is true, this is a snapshot of time. Who's to say what will happen in a week's time? Will he make it up to her? Will he find the words to actually, speak to her and be like, look, this is why, da-da-da-da-da. And he just couldn't come up with it in the initial moments because he's a retard or whatever, or he's just socially inept in some way. Which a lot of people are. A lot of people do make mistakes and fumble these things in human interactions and then make it up later. That is a normal thing that happens, okay? So we should give a little bit of grace there. But the response to this was quite insane, right? We had quite a lot of, especially women, coming out of the woodwork to go, saying things like, this is how girls are conditioned. And then when they grow up and men will tell them, women just naturally don't like doing fishing and sports. Right. She was involved in all of that shit up until this point, and there's nothing to even say in this story that she would never be involved again. right? So this black and white thinking, instantly these people are triggered with this black and white thinking of it's all or nothing. Well, if she's not allowed on this trip, well, she's never going to be able to do any of this shit again. Now, even at 11 years old, if you love all this shit and you have a passion for this stuff, that would not change after this one interaction, right? It would not change. If that changed, you are just a weak person. Even at 11, I would say that. You could not get me to stop liking anime because I couldn't go to like an anime convention one time. Let's say, I don't even know how to... Say my friends are going to an anime convention and they didn't invite me. Or I couldn't go because I couldn't afford it or something like that at 11 because obviously I don't have any money at 11 years old or my parents wouldn't pay for it or something. That wouldn't make me stop liking anime. Okay? If I don't have older brothers, but if my older brothers or sisters, I don't have older sisters either, I have younger sisters, but I have say I had older sisters and they all went on a girls' night out to watch an anime movie that I really wanted to watch as well and they didn't take me because they just wanted to make it a girls' night out. Yeah, I'd probably be pissed off, but it's not the fucking end of the world, okay? It doesn't fucking matter. If they wanted a night out with the girls, that's up to them and that's their prerogative. And there comes a time in every child's life where you have to be told no and you're not going to get what you want and you have to actually acknowledge some differences in life. Yes, it's a bit sad. Yes, it pisses you off, but it's part of life and you have to learn these things in order to not become a completely entitled, spoilt child, right? That's part of what parenting is. You have to stop a child from becoming a spoilt child, okay? So, in doing that, you have to tell them no. You have to start drawing boundaries at certain points in their life. And when they're coming into puberty, like the ages of 11, 13, and so on, there starts to be times where separating those things out, especially when there is kids of different sexes in the household and stuff like that, there is times where it is appropriate to do those things. But it seems like a lot of people, especially the women in these comments, seem to not be able to understand that situation. In fact, they seem to think that being told no is the end of the world, and they also think it's traumatic, a lot of them. A lot of them think this is traumatizing the girl. Now, I hate that they are diluting the term trauma. This is not a traumatic thing. It's a sad thing, it's an annoying thing, but it's also a very temporary who gives a fuck kind of a thing as well. It's something that gets forgotten about in a few days if the people involved, you know, actually handle it correctly and be, it's okay, you can go on the next trip, You know, you do the appropriate making it up to the sad child, okay? You make it up. I feel like from what I read in here, although there's some annoyance and stuff going on, some initial fumblings of the ball, I do get the vibe that the dad cares, the mum probably cares too, they'll probably sort it out. It's just some annoying, stupid family bullshit. It's like everyday, stupid family bullshit that nobody needs to fucking care about. But what I find stunning, though, is just the sheer amount of women. And so you see all these likes on here. He basically told her that he thought she was less than her brother and her cousin. Now she's half gonna have to deal with the thought. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? How is she less than? It's insane, a lot of these comments. It's just insane. The men aren't helping in the comments. A lot of the men are saying, well, the mum's the one fucking up. No, the mum's not necessarily. She is fucking up a bit. The dad's also fucking up a bit. It's not that serious. Everyone's blowing it out of proportion. Like, every single... And I feel like what's happening here, what I'm seeing in the reaction to these comments, okay, is I'm seeing spoiled children going haywire because they're it's given them PTSD, right? A spoiled child's PTSD is being told no, right? And they're seeing a time in their life when they were told, my dad didn't let me do something once, and then I was really upset with him, and now she's going through that as well. That's the vibe. That's the vibe that we're getting out of here, out of all these women. He doesn't respect her as a woman. No. Right? Get some fucking perspective. Grow the fuck up, you stupid little cunts. Actually just step outside of your little bubble of you always getting what you want all the time and never being... Everyone needs to kiss your fucking ass at every point possible, right? Just fucking step back. Like, a lot of these people call themselves... A lot of these women who are saying this call themselves feminists, right? If you want healthy sexual education for boys, there's going to be times where men need to give that sexual education to the boys, okay? Just like it's the same with girls, right? And it just enrages me that they can't just step back out of their own perceptions, their own thoughts and feelings about the situation to go, okay, maybe there is valid reasons for this. Maybe we can give a bit of grace. No, they're all just triggered because they're in their own feelings about it. When she says this is how girls are conditioned, no, this is how she feels about herself. She's like, oh, I was excluded from some things. I liked some of the boy stuff, but then I was excluded from some boy stuff. So I just didn't like it anymore. And then I wouldn't even do it anymore. And it's like, well, that's on you. That's on you. People get excluded. I used to be into geeky stuff. That didn't mean all the geeks wanted to play with me. I would get excluded from that. I'd get excluded when the girls wanted to play. I had 3 sisters. I didn't really get to play with them. I did sometimes. But, you know, they'd exclude me. Oh, no, I want to play with my girlfriends. Okay. I'm not always entitled to their time. Okay? Do you get that? Do you get that you are not always entitled to always be there? Do you get that? Just like men are not always entitled to be in every single space or in every single situation. If the girls want a girls' night out or a girls' night in or whatever the fuck, with no boys around, they're entitled to that. You're not always entitled to go, no, I have to be there, actually. And if you don't let me be there, you're traumatizing me. You're actually making it so that I don't have any interest in girl shit anymore. Like, grow the fuck up. Grow up, please. It's so annoying. So annoying. But yeah, there was just some crazy shit in here, man. I don't know where my comments are, but I was getting some crazy shit, man. Where was my reply on here? I thought my reply would be at the top because I replied to this somewhere, but maybe it was someone else's comment that I replied to, and that's why it's buried. Or maybe it's just because my account isn't as big as some of these. Maybe it orders it different. On the mobile app, mine always comes up at the top, but maybe in these ones, because there's loads of blue ticks on here. Maybe on these ones, it's ordered by the account popularity rather than whatever. I swear I just responded to this straight up as a post, but whatever. I was going to try and show you some of the people that were responding to me and what they were saying, but you get the idea with some of these people. This is one of the things I responded to. Maybe I responded to this. No, it's not on there. But basically, yeah, the subtext that everyone seems to be missing is that the father recognizes that as a male role model, he wants his son and nephew to be able to ask him sensitive, embarrassing questions that he wouldn't feel comfortable asking him with a girl present. Yeah, exactly. That's my sentiments exactly. But these people, like these girls, like just come out with all this crazy shit. She's 11. Girls love their fathers the way boys love their mothers. She probably loves him more than their son. Yes, we all as adults see that father-son bonding is important. As an 11-year-old, she would not. These are complex social issues. But she'd asked to go, and he said no. He should have planned something with her that day. The same trip, even have done it first. Why should he have done the trip first for her? Like, she just takes full priority because she's a girl. Emotions are not reasonable, and girls want to be the number one with their dads. I mean, okay, that was actually... I will say, actually, out of the response, I just picked a random one. To be fair, that was actually a little bit more reasonable than some of them, but... Some of them are reasonable, but there was a lot that had, like, a lot of, like, really fucked up. Okay, the children are too close in age and have too close of a relationship for there to be a boys-only weekend. 11 is a tender age for both boys and girls, and the father had already set the precedent that both children were always included. Unfortunately, it may have taken a very long time for her to get past it. Why would it take her a very long fucking time? Like, I don't get it. He really hurt his daughter's feelings, and everything she thought about their relationship and close bond has been ruined. Basically, the husband should have listened to his wife in the first place, but now it feels like his only option is to own it to his daughter, and he screwed up. It's thoughtless. And this has got like 1,000 likes. Like, it's just... This got 16,000 likes. Wait, he decided to exclude his daughter against his wife's advice. He said he would fix it, and then his decision inevitably hurt his daughter. Now he expects his wife to fix it for him. No wonder the daughter doesn't want to be around him. Ew! Ew! Ew, he's so gross! 16k likes. Like, this, it's fucking retarded, man. These people, look, I'm pro-children, right? I'm not an anti-natalist, but please, all of you people, do not have children. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You would not know how to raise children, especially if you had multiple sex children. You don't know what the fuck you're doing, a lot of you. You're all actually insane, like fully insane. But anyway, I wanted to include that story. I thought it was just like, this wound me up all week. I wish I could see some of the comments on here. I'm not going to go into my notifications right now. I can't be arsed scrolling through that. I would have shown you some of them if it had come up here in the list, but I can't see my avatar anywhere, so I don't know where the fuck my comment was made. Maybe it was in one of these. It was in reply to one of these, and then maybe it's buried because of that. But whatever. I said all my thoughts. I said what I thought about it anyway, and yeah, there's nothing really more to say about that. All right, a little bit of a fun thing, just to kind of break up the stream a little bit. But we found a Twitter schizodiagnosis method here. Let's take a little peek at this. So we got a group of personality disorders here, and we've got some symptoms to look at. So which one are you? Are you a paranoid? Are you a schizoid? Schizotypical? Antisocial? Histrionic? Narcissistic? Borderline? Avoidant? Dependent? Take your pick. So for paranoid, we've got a core belief. People are against me. View of self. Right, noble, innocent. View of others. Interfering, malicious. Missing interpersonal quality. Trust and acceptance. Main strategy, be suspicious, wary, accuse others. Okay, I've got it up on the screen. I'm not going to read every one. You can pause it. You can look at it. You can figure out which one you are. But I thought it was pretty funny. When I looked at it, I was like, okay, I'm probably between paranoid and schizoid. I've got a little bit of these two. I don't really think like people are against me too much. And I don't necessarily think that I'm right. I do think I'm kind of right. I don't know if I'm necessarily noble or innocent, though. I don't know if I would go that far. And my view of others is interfering, malicious. I do think interfering sometimes. Malicious, not necessarily, although definitely, again, sometimes. Missing interpersonal trust and acceptance. I definitely am wary of people. I definitely have a bit of this going on. My main strategy is be suspicious, wary, and accuse others. Yeah, okay, maybe I can see a little bit of that. But then there's also this side of me. I need plenty of space. I'm self-sufficient, a loner. That is true. Not always. I do like company, but I definitely do spend a lot of time alone. Intrusive. The view of others is intrusive, not needed, which is kind of similar to interfering. Not needed. Intimacy. My missing interpersonal quality is intimacy and positive affect. And which is definitely missing in my life. The tragedy. Main strategy, stay away. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny. Maybe you can find out what you are. Have a little look at that. I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny. I did put a comment in here. Oh, no, I reposted it, I think. I reposted it. Anyway, next on, we go to the next big story. And that is the Destiny audio leaks. Now, if you haven't been following the story, Destiny has got a lawsuit going on. I think we covered it a little bit on the last stream. Destiny's got a lawsuit going on. He is basically... He's been accused of basically doing revenge porn. He's been recording people without their consent. He's been sharing that material to other people. He's been using that material to try and seduce other people as well, which is very bizarre, but he's been doing that. This has then been leaked by other people. that he's been doing this, and then other things of him have been leaked, like porn of him, stuff like that. He's actually, it's a bit weird because technically he is also a target of this revenge porn, because there's also porn of him being leaked, not by him. So it's a weird situation. He's a victim of revenge porn, but he's also a perpetrator of revenge porn too. I think, kind of, or at least sharing explicit material without permission, which I guess is still a crime. I guess that would fall under revenge porn, I guess. He's being sued by somebody. He's got a lawsuit on the go. We all know that he is an abusive, weirdo, sexual pervert. This has been known for a very long time. And now it's a bit more concrete. But I do think, like, the people who knew him a little bit closer behind the scenes, who knew what was going on, some of them having these sexual relationships with him and just kind of giving cover and not really doing anything about it or whatever, who are now scrambling to, like, try to demonize him and stuff. I do think a lot of them are opportunistic, and I think some of them may even be guilty of the same stuff, potentially. So I think part of the reason why a lot of people are scrambling to demonize Destiny May, especially a lot of his former orbiters, I think it is partly to do with they're trying to, hopefully, in their eyes, try and cut off. Like, if anything comes their way, they can cut off and be like, no, I took a stance, this is all bullshit. I don't know how true that is. I just have a bit of an instinct about it. I don't know. That's just something that I feel. I'm not saying that that's necessarily true. But yeah, Destiny, some leaks came out about him, and this is a part of a recording of him meeting some guy for sex. So
what's this stuff Lauren keeps saying about you recording people in your apartment?
So this is a clip of him denying or acting like incredulous when somebody would like insinuate that he would ever do like recordings of people behind their back without them knowing, and like
the way that Lauren keeps saying this is that like is implying that I'm like recording me fucking people or recording me like sexual stuff or something like that.
So what you can hear here is footsteps. I think he's going up the stairs to somebody's apartment, I guess. I guess he started the recording while he was coming up to the door.
Oh yeah? Wait. Hey, what's up? Pretty good, I guess.
Sorry. Do you want light? Is there?
No, it's fine.
I don't know if you can hear that.
So what's up?
Nothing much. Just horny, obviously.
Just horny, obviously.
How do you want me?
How do you want me? Do you notice how like clinical it is?
Sit or lay back or whatever you want.
That's fine.
You want to just lay back? Like he gets in there, and literally he's just like, yeah, I'm just horny. I guess he met this guy on Grindr, but he's just like, and he's just like, yeah, how do you want me? Like, it's literally just straight to business, like nothing. No real conversation. I don't even know if he really even knows this guy. Now, Destiny claims, apparently, that this guy knew that he'd record this interaction and that was a consensual thing. So that this being leaked is not actually evidence of him leaking people, recording people behind their back. But it's kind of irrelevant because he's done it before anyway, and I'm pretty sure there's been evidence of that anyway, so fuck it. But I'm looking forward to seeing like how far does this court case go. I am very interested to see that. So we'll probably be seeing more of this court case in the future. We'll give you some little tidbits of things that come out of the woodwork as they arrive on Twitter. But this is one that came up this week. I thought it was interesting to take a look, but I thought, you know, the main intrigue here is that there is a pattern of behavior clearly with Destiny. He does record people, whether they consent to it or not. It seems like he does do this. And he does share this around. He does use this in ways that are probably illegal. And so, you know, and he has harmed and damaged people's reputations with this, even if it was inadvertently because somebody else was sharing this information. So, yeah, you know, there's you know, it's weird. Weird shit. Weird shit going on with Destiny. But, we'll see how it goes. He did do a video recently that he was kind of trying to refute Pixie's lawsuit against him, but he couldn't really do it. He does this thing where he wants to talk about it, so he'll do it, but then he'll also do it in a way where he can't really say a lot or give that much detail. So I don't know, and I didn't see the whole stream. I just watched the first bit of it, and I was gonna come back to it. Yeah, I don't know. If you want to see me go over it on stream, let me know. I'm not sure if I really care about going on over it on stream, but I might listen to it in private, and I'll probably give some thoughts on it if Destiny comes up again, which I'm sure he will. Anyway, on to the next story. You know what? We'll skip this. This was just something for fun. I wasn't sure how long this stream was gonna go, but yeah, this was just a joke one. But I thought if I had more time, we'd get into that. But anyway, we'll get into the next thing. We'll get into this. So this is the final story of the stream, so I saved the best till last. But okay, we've got some Elon Musk baby mama drama up in this bitch. And so we covered this a little bit last week. We've got a new baby mama on the scene, Ashley St. Clair. She's recently had a baby with Elon Musk, and she's been trying to get him to sign the birth certificate of the child and acknowledge the child. And we'll talk about that in a minute, because there is some ongoing saga with that that we'll cover in just a second. But earlier in the week, there was another incident with Grimes, his ex-wife, who he has 3 children with. She made a public post on one of Elon's random posts that day, saying this: "Please respond about our child's medical crisis. I am sorry to do this publicly. It is no longer acceptable to ignore this situation. This requires immediate attention. If you don't want to talk to me, can you please designate or hire someone who can, so that we can move forward on solving this. This is urgent, Elon." Okay? So this got everybody in a buzz, okay? Everybody was like, oh my god, what's the medical condition? Why isn't he answering her calls and texts? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. Everyone went mental over this. Now, she has deleted this post, so we can't actually look at the responses. We can't look at what people were saying. But there is this caption for posterity, so we can see that it existed. But yeah, this was kind of wild. I do think, though, that people have blown this out of proportion. I also think people have picked up on this, right? Because it's not just Grimes, it's not just Ashley St. Clair. There's been others that have been kind of jockeying for Elon's attention recently. And publicly on X as well. Publicly on Twitter, they've been doing this. So there is like a weird element to this where it does feel a little bit like there's some kind of ex-wife popularity contest going on, or like a who deserves the most attention from him kind of a thing. I don't know. There's an oddness to this. There's an oddness to the way that she said this tweet, right? But it's no longer acceptable to ignore this situation. Like, our child's medical crisis. Like, it's very harsh words, right? And it's also very ambiguous. Did he just fall over? I don't know. There's something to this that just feels off to me. At the end of the day, Elon Musk is a billionaire. He probably has access to the best healthcare in the world. So if anything has happened to this child, which I assume is the child that he has with him a lot, and I think he does have custody of this child. So if that is true and that is the case, then as far as I'm concerned, I would assume that he probably is doing something about it if there is a medical crisis. I'm not even 100% sure there's a medical crisis. Like, she said something else. There was another tweet as well where she said something about how somebody said something to her and then she responded being like, this could potentially impact our child's life forever or something like that. Again, she was being very vague, yet also like harsh. What she was saying, like it was like it's very urgent, it's very, but it feels very fear-mongery. It feels a bit like drumming up drama a little bit over this. Now, if it's okay, let's put it this way: if it's true, if it was true there was a medical crisis, one that could affect the child forever, I don't know. Grimes is a little bit autismo. She does word things kind of weird anyway. But I do follow her and I do see a lot of her tweets and stuff. And this feels a little out of character even for her, how she's wording this. There is like a weirdness to how she's wording this, even for her. And I don't know. With everything with the Ashley St. Clair coming out recently and all this stuff, and there was other women as well, I think, saying something recently. I can't remember. That's a bit hazy. Don't quote me on that. But I do think there was something else before this as well. So there does feel a little bit like a weird thing going on here, where there is these women just kind of jockeying for position in a way for like who deserves the most attention. I'm getting the feeling maybe he's just come down with chicken pox or some shit, and she's just going crazy with it because, you know, sometimes women just be going crazy over normal regular shit because they don't have control over it or whatever. So this sparked off a huge thing. People have been wondering what's going on. Elon Musk still hasn't said anything about it, and he has. I think his response to this was like, "Whoa," she's just so retarded. But I think he, at the end of the day, I do think if there is some serious thing going on with the child, you know, as much as I do question Elon Musk and I do question his mentality and sometimes what he's doing or what he's saying. I don't think he's like that crazy that he would just allow his child to have like a serious medical condition that he's just doing nothing about whatsoever. I wouldn't go that crazy. Like, come on, guys. Like, if it's true, like, he's probably doing something about it. Let's not be fucking insane here, okay? On to the next thing. So, speaking about Elon's baby mamas, we've got Ashley St. Clair, who has filed a paternity action against Elon Musk in New York Supreme Court. And this is all about signing his birth certificate, right? And apparently she asked him to do this during the campaign trail. And so that's the context of some of the things that we're going to see here. There's some messages here. She's seeking sole custody of their child. The following texts were included as supporting exhibits of their relations, but she's also revealed them publicly. I guess this is in like the motion. You know, they post like an emotion where they add some evidence to it for like, this is a public motion or whatever, that we're going to sue based on these grounds. And here's some, not all the evidence, but here's some of the key evidence as to why or whatever. They do that sometimes. So we've got a little bit of a public statement. We've got a little bit of some stuff here. So we've got some screenshots. Now note, these photographs, actually I misspoke. They are not screenshots. They are photographs from another phone. So let's just put that in perspective. These messages come from a Signal, okay? Now, Signal is a app where it's a bit like Snapchat. The messages will get deleted after a period of time or whatever, right? And if you screenshot them, sorry, then it will notify the other person to tell them. So this is all about transparency. Even though the messages get deleted, there's also like a transparency element. I don't know, it's weird. It's a weird thing. Anyway, right? So it's all about privacy. Like, these messages are just meant to be completely private and nothing else. So it's basically just for affairs, cheaters, drug dealers, and shit like that, right? And probably abusers of all different kinds and sex traffickers and whatever. Anyway, but the reason that she took a picture of these was because she didn't want Elon to get that notification, right? She didn't want Elon to get that notification that she screenshotted it. Now, you have to remember, these were taken at certain dates, okay? These were actually taken quite a while ago. So this means that she was already gonna do all that. Like, she was already planning to do this stuff when she was just getting these kinds of messages. Now, these messages are actually just regular ass messages, right? So, just a picture of them to her and a friend. Hi, cutie. And he's like, hi. And she's like, hi, see you soon. And he's like, I want to knock you up again. You know? Which, again, at the end of the day, Elon Musk is obviously obsessed with repopulating the planet, so I guess that's a normal thing for him to say. Anyway, here we go again with the pictures from the phone. So this is during the campaign trail, right? This is during the campaign trail. I get credible death threats every day. I'm number 2 after Trump for assassination. Wake up. So she's obviously said something to him before this, but she's cut that out. Wake up. This is not the time for sentiment at the expense of safety. If I make a mistake on security, such and such, which I assume is the name of the child, will never know his father. That's why the father... Wait. And then she's coming back. That's why the father spot on his birth certificate is blank right now, E. And why he has my last name. It's like she's trying to, like, emotionally manipulate him into going to do this stuff. Now, at the time, him saying this is probably relevant. So he's like, I don't want to go to a public place. I don't want to go to this hospital because there could be a security compromise there for me. And I don't think it's the right time for me to do that right at this second, okay? Which, I don't know how reasonable that is. I'd say it's kind of reasonable, but... I mean, there were several attempts on Trump during the campaign trail. So I could understand why they're probably like, well... And to be fair, you know, Elon Musk is an extremely hated figure. Let's just put that out there. He's liked by a lot of people. He's also deeply hated by a lot of people too. So, you know, if he's getting death threats and stuff online, and there has been assassination attempts on Trump and stuff like that, I can understand why he might be like, whoa, okay, I don't know. I've never really been in this situation before, but I don't know, I'm just being extra careful. So I can see his perspective a little bit. I do think there probably is ways to go about this, though. Like, why can't you just sign the document somehow? Like, maybe there's a digital way to do it. I don't fucking know. But I feel like there's probably a way to get around this, right? And they're probably not being very... He's not being very helpful. She's also not being very particular helpful as well. Like, she's not offering any solutions. She's just trying to emotionally manipulate him into doing it. Which is also not right. She's not acknowledging what he's saying. She's not going, okay, I understand that. Maybe there's another way we can do this. She's being, like, mega emotionally manipulative, okay? And she's like, that's why he has my last name. And he's like, it's necessary for now. Only the paranoid survive. She's like, I understand. Apologies if Ava's text upset you. There's been... Who's Ava's text? Wait, is that Ava? Who the fuck is Ava? Why is Ava also messaging him, like, bombarding him with emotional blackmail? Is that what's going on here? What the fuck? And so now she's, like, playing good cop, bad cop. Like, oh, Ava's messaging you, and now I'm messaging you too. Like, what the fuck is this double team that's going on? I understand apologies if Ava's text upset you. There has been incredible discretion used here, as will continue to be. Discretion, as she's saying that as she's taking pictures of it, knowingly to use this later down the line. The threat level will reach insane levels until the election is decided. Loose lip sync shit. Okay, whatever. So she's agreeing to it for now, but then she's also just being a bit crazy. So then there's like this other one. She says to him, hi, I feel like a lot broke down when Jared got involved. He said a lot of pretty horrible things to me that he attributed to you, and I feel as though there was never a rift in our relationship before that. I don't know who Jared is, but apparently all kinds of people are getting involved in this bullshit for some reason. If you are in New York, or if you'd like me to come to DC, I really would appreciate that, being able to speak to you in person. I care about you deeply and feel as though third parties have put a major rift in our relationship. I truly wish it was better for the sake of our son. Okay. It's not necessary. He kind of might accept that. He's kind of on the fence about her saying that. And she's like, alrighty then! And he's like, well, we do have a legion of kids to make, I guess. So I guess he is kind of taking it. They're just being a bit. This seems like there's been some kind of blow up, and they're both winding down, trying to reconcile. It looks like that's my take there. There's been some kind of blow up before this that they're mentioning, and they're kind of reconciling here. I feel like this will be resolved. He's obviously going to sign the document. She's just being a bit of a crazy bitch about it and going a bit too far. I think he's probably putting this off for too long too. So I'm not gonna. Okay, I won't shit on her completely. He probably is taking too long to do this, but there's probably no need to go this far with it. Again, it does seem to just kind of be an excuse to now become this relevant Elon Musk wife, woman, baby mama person. But because of this situation where she's taking these pictures from the phone, this has led people to believe that this St. Clair girl has kind of had it in the works to baby trap Elon Musk for a long time and then take steps like these to, you know, get money, get relevance, you know, kind of get a connection to someone like Elon Musk and all the things that he can offer and provide to her life, especially if she has a good relationship with him. Although it doesn't seem like she necessarily, it seems like they have a bit of a turbulent relationship. But yeah, this has led some people to come out of the woodwork, ex-friends, we might say, of this Ashley St. Clair, who are revealing that this Ashley St. Clair has indeed kind of, it seems like that she may have kind of planned to get pregnant with Elon Musk, kind of planned to do this kind of stuff, had this in the works for herself. So we've got a tweet here by Isabella Moody, who is a friend, an ex-friend of Ashley St. Clair. I'm assuming that Laura Loomer is also. So she says, I agree with Laura Loomer. I wasn't going to post these, but now that Ashley St. Clair has leaked her private signal messages with Elon Musk after lying and saying she wanted privacy, here's more evidence Ashley planned to baby trap Elon. Okay, so she posted other evidence about this before. It was a little vaguer. This seems a little bit more potent. She sent me these text messages in May 2023 when she first met Elon and started sleeping with him. She said, I need his rocket babies, and I need a caption to seduce Elon Musk. In May of 2023. Now, I would say that these could be tongue-in-cheek jokes about somebody that you have a crush on. And I'm assuming that she did have a crush on him, at least, right? Even if she was being maniacal, she could still have a crush on him, too, even if she is an obsessed freak. But, but, you know, at the end of the day, the way this is all playing out, it does look a little weird. It does look a little weird. I think it does kind of call into question her motivations. She doesn't care about privacy. She planned to seduce him by her own admission, and now she's leaking his texts. So I'm leaking her text to me now, because as Laura Loomer said below, we need to condemn promiscuous gold diggers. That's right, hunty. Receipts. Right. Actually, Elon followed me. I need his rocket babies. Lol. Oh my god, no way. That's so awesome. He 1,000% saw my moon landing tweet. Look, I'll take one for the team. Seduce Elon and get in a rocket to see what's up. Oh yeah, you gotta do it for the sake of society, bitch. Yeah, okay. This is my best American woman impression. I need a caption to seduce Elon Musk. Thinking about the dangers of AI. Yeah, okay. That's not even that funny. Elon Musk responded to this. Whoa! Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can see these as jokes with the girls. I don't know if I take it as serious as like, I was obsessed with Elon and I'm going to take over. But they could be, though. Because sometimes people, like we saw earlier with Milo Yiannopoulos, you know, people do joke sometimes about their intentions, or at least, you know, allegedly. So I don't know. Maybe she is a bit of a psycho. I don't know. It's hard to say. And I will say, her messaging style, when she's messaging Elon, the stuff that she's chosen to reveal to the public, number one, the way and fashion that she's got about it is fairly manipulative. And even the messages that she shows, the messages that she has messaged herself, that she reveals, do have a kind of manipulative quality to them as well. So I don't know, man. There is some very weird stuff going on with this lady. I think this is kind of what happens, though, unfortunately, when you are a rich guy, basically. It's a little bit similar to women as well, right? Like women, especially being an attractive woman, you know, there's a likelihood that men are going to approach you a lot more, right? And most of the men are probably going to be fine, but there's probably going to be some that really do cross the line, or, you know, do something unsavory, or just come off in a really creepy way or whatever. And then this starts to like color your perception of all people that start to come your way, you know? And you start to hate women, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, there is still a truth to these people come out of the woodwork in a certain position. And in the same way that women can attract like some of the wrong uns in society because of just this kind of social dynamic around dating, and, you know, men are kind of forced to go to women, there is also an aspect of, you know, what women like in men. Like, there is obviously a significant amount of women who do really just prize money and status and things like that, and find that, you know, a deep draw on their desire. And for whatever reason, or, you know, even potentially more sociopathic reasons, these women do exist. I'm not saying they're all women, but they're enough that they're out there and they're doing this shit. She could be one of these people. I mean, it is what it is. She could be one of these people at the end of the day. You know, it's a little bit like the gold diggers too, with the old guys, or like, you know, sugar babies, whatever. You know, there's all kinds of stuff like this. So yeah, you know, I just think I would be wary of it. But these messages, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna need something a little meatier than this. These messages are not necessarily convincing me, to be honest. I'd say what is convincing me a little bit more is the combination with these ones, like, you know, these messages that she sent to Elon, that kind of stuff. I am starting to go like, okay, she is acting a little shady here. She is acting a little weird, a little wild. I don't know. Her messaging style is giving a little bit of emotional manipulator, a little bit. I understand that emotions are high, and people can come off that way when they're trying to emote in an evocative way, which is not necessarily invalid to do, but at the end of the day, if that's like a primary way that you communicate a lot, especially in these high emotionally tense situations, in all honesty, that is emotionally manipulative, whether you like it or not. And so, you know, you gotta be wary of that. So I don't know, a little bit, but at the end of the day, that could be separate to that. Just because she's emotionally manipulative in this particular situation doesn't necessarily mean that she's some kind of master manipulator, that she's orchestrated this whole stuff to get a baby out of Elon and all this stuff. I don't know how far I would go with all this. It's a very difficult kind of thing to really judge, and he does seem to be interested in her still, you know, wants to knock her up again. He's talking about having babies with her still. I'm assuming there's still an ongoing relationship with them on some level, where she's still willing to have sex with him and have more babies, I guess. So, and I don't know, very weird stuff. I don't know, weird kind of bullshit, but interesting nonetheless. These crazy fucking rich freaks, they're all doing weird shit, aren't they? It's all very weird. Us plebs could never. Anyway, I think that's all we've got for today. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Please like and subscribe to the stream. I'm going to be doing this every week on a Sunday, so please tune in. Be around 7 o'clock UK time, so keep your eyes peeled. Well, 8 o'clock. I can't guarantee the time because just, you know, getting back from work. I do this after work. But yeah, I think this was a fun one. This was definitely a better one, definitely more solid. We had more structure on this one. I liked the topics that we had. You know, I'll try and figure out what's needed. I think maybe I came in with too much stuff this time around. Let's see if there's anyone in the chat, to see if there's anything from the chat that we can glean. Any responses? No, nobody spoke in the chat this time. That's okay. We did have some fluctuating numbers on the chat. I did see that here and there. You know, we did have a few in and out. But you know, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We're gonna make this a regular thing. Really hope everyone enjoys this. I'm gonna make a thumbnail. I'm gonna try and make thumbnails for these. I need to stop being lazy, so I'll probably make a thumbnail for this now. Yeah, thank you for everyone for tuning in. Like I say, like and subscribe. In future, if you are tuning in, please get involved in the chat. I like going back and forth in chat. This is a you know, back and forth kind of stream. And also, follow me on Twitter as well. Follow me on Twitter. We need to get those Twitter numbers up so I can start getting paid from Twitter. Thank you very much. It's very helpful. And you can see me complain about women, and you can see me argue with radfems and racists. And you can also see me be a little bit racist, but in a fun way, not in an actual mean way. Not in an actual hateful way, in the fun way. We all like to be racist in a fun way. Come on, let's not beat around the bush here. Anyway, I'll see you again next Sunday. I may make some clips for this in the week. We'll see if I'm bored or not, if I can be arsed. But I need to start doing this to build my presence in the algorithm. Hopefully we can do that eventually. Maybe I can be a regular streamer again. Who knows? Maybe I can be a regular streamer. Anyway, thank you very much to everyone, and I will see you next Sunday. Hello then. Bye bye then. Hello then. Bye bye bye. Bye 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 bye. Bye bye bye. Bye bye bye.